I don't know if you guys even know who Peter Hotez is, but Joe Rogan last week had Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on his show. And, of course, RFK Jr. Was appointed by Trump to kind of be an overseer of a committee regarding vaccines. He consistently called out Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci. He's continually been outspoken against just these vaccines run amok. And I love the fact that now on this show we can actually use the word vaccine without calling it the jab or the blah blah or whatever it is we've called it in the past. We can actually say the word vaccine right now. We don't know how much longer you could say it, but RFK Jr. has come out consistently against that. And I appreciate his stance on that. Now, again, in an honest, topical conversation, believe it or not, it's okay for two men on a podcast that's heard even by millions upon millions of people to have an honest conversation on a topic without having to be a doctor, without having to be a virologist, without having to be an expert in any certain field. You're just asking questions. You're putting out information that you've studied and you've researched in the case of RFK, and Joe Rogan, who's sitting back asking questions. Now, a former guest on Joe Rogan's podcast has been Peter Hotez, okay? Peter Hotez has been very outspoken for the vaccines. In fact, he wants you getting shots today. He wants you jabbed up. He wants you to look like you went into acupuncture. I mean, this guy wants all the juice flowing through you. Now, this is the same guy. I wish we had the clip for it, but it's long and you'll have to go look it up. But if you've seen the clip of Joe Rogan's interview with Peter Hotez, where he's talking to this guy about how unhealthy his eating habits are, how he, quote, tries to work out, how he tries to walk or run, and Joe Rogan's just clowning this guy the entire time. So here's a guy where if you see him, and I don't even know if we have a picture of the dude, but he's just an average Joe, okay? He's just a dude that you would expect, pasty, mealy, white, academician, a guy that you would expect to be sitting in an academic bubble pushing papers around for 30 years, and every now and then he comes out and exposes his skin to the sun. That's Peter Hotez right there on the right side of the screen. Don't even confuse that with the brown skin in the middle. That is the pasty white right there on the right. And there's a guy, I mean, this guy, he's the picture of health, right? He wants to tell you all the crap you need to be putting inside of your bodies. This is why for years I've said, don't even send your kids to college anymore. Don't send them because that's what they're going to be putting up with. These guys who have never tested their wild-eyed, wild-ass theories in the real world, but yet they want to brainwash your kids into believing an ideology, a narrative. And that's what this vaccine worship has become. It has become an ideology. It's become a religion. I said this years ago when we started all the mask nonsense and the social distancing and the stay-at-home and the quarantining and all of these things that just shut our world down. I said it is the religion of safetyism. The mask is a talisman. You know who is worshiping at the altar of safety by who's wearing their damn mask. And now it's the vaccine. Have you gotten it? Have you not gotten it? That pressure will continue to keep up. I remain unvaccinated. Pure blood, getting the vasectomy reversed. My sperm will be the new Bitcoin. I demand to deliver it to you the old-fashioned way manually. It's not coming to you frozen or in a tube. It's coming to you in me. How about that, Brandon? That's a sales pitch. But I believe we're going to see some things in the years to come. In the years to come, you're going to see two things happen. I was thinking about this morning, Brandon. In another generation or two, they're going to look back on 2023, and they're going to say to us, they're going to say, why didn't you do more to stop this shit? Why didn't you do more to stop the vaccine being pushed? Because now we're seeing all these people that are injured and dying. Mark my words. If you're still around in 20 years, 30 years, they'll be asking the questions. Why didn't you do more to stop it? They'll be saying the same thing about the transgender issue as well. Even though that's a different topic. They'll be asking the same questions because these kids that were put on puberty blockers and were put under all of these hormone therapies as well as going under the knife for gender mutilation. In 30 years, when the results come in, and we have a decimated society from these ideologies which were pushed on people that medically re-engineered them. They're going to look back at our generation and say, why didn't you do more? See, right now you're saying, shut up about it. Shut up about it. We don't want you to say anything else. I will not shut up about this. Refuse to, because I'm pissed off and this is nonsense. So, Hotez, back to my point, called out RFK Jr. and said he and Rogan are just a pile of misinformation. And everybody jumps on them and says, you got Joe Rogan who is pushing for ivermectin and horse dewormer and all this shit. And these guys are just, so what point are we going to censor them, stop them, deplatform them, get rid of them for misinformation? And so it was very simple. Joe Rogan said, let's handle this the old-fashioned way. I can't slap you in the face with a leather glove and challenge you to a duel tomorrow. Let's be gentlemen. And you've both been on my show. Let's have a debate. It's very simple. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. versus Peter Hotez. Now, Peter Hotez, and if you think, now, you can look him up all you want on the Wikipedia or whatever. He's an American scientist. I'm going to use these in quotations. A pediatrician. He's an advocate in the fields of global health, vaccinology, and neglected tropical disease control. He's an advocate. Doesn't mean because you're an advocate for something that you're an expert on something. But they're putting him up there like he's some high up accomplished scholar in a medical field. And they're saying you should not go on and debate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. because that is beneath you. How dare you condescend to a politician or a person who's outspoken? Sounds like an advocate to me. Don't condescend to them because in the name of science, you need to stand your ground. Well, they doubled down. Joe Rogan said, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to offer $100,000 to the charity of your choice, Peter Hotez, if you will come in and you will debate RFK Jr. Now, you say it's misinformation. Come on, I'm offering you $100,000 to the charity of your choice if you're willing to debate him on my show with no time limit. I'm salivating at the opportunity here. I'm looking at this, I'm going, hell yeah. Well, that number, Brandon, has now gone up to $2.5 million. I, by the way, donated 10 whole.
We want that noted, by the way.
I would like to have an asterisk by the number.
Yeah.
And so when you come down in the footnotes, you see all these big names down there in Chad Prather.
Yeah.
$10. Don't spend all that in one place, Hotez. But let me tell you something. If you offered me $2.5 million to come on and debate, I would debate as to why you should cut your balls off, okay? I would completely do whatever you want me to say. I am that big of a puppet, put your hand up my ass. I would do it. But no, $2.5 million is not enough for Hotez because science is so precious. The religion of safetyism must be protected and guarded at all costs. The bottom line is he's a grifter, and he knows that his scam is going to be exposed if he goes on with RFK. He knows that he'll be exposed. Don't give me that bullshit about Joe Rogan being unbiased and all that. Every debate in the world, I mean, my God, have you seen any of the debates, the presidential debates in history? They always have a biased moderator. I believe Joe Rogan could do it. I believe he could do it. Just let him ask the questions and let's go at it. But Peter Hotez knows that the grift will be up, the jig will be up. He can't continue to do that and then go on and have the whole thing exposed because guess what? His profit-making, his money-making advocacy goes down the toilet real quick. See, we're living in a unique time right now. The mainstream media and all the tyrants out there, whether it's educational tyranny, judicial tyranny, governmental tyranny, medical tyranny, corporate tyranny, list them. All the tyrannies out there, they used to be able to lie to you and it stuck. It stuck. So they could tell you that Donald Trump was guilty of Russian collusion, and then it took 2 years and $30 million of investigation to try to figure that out, and you still held on to the lie, saying he's a Russian spy and all this crap. And then then it took the Durham report to say it was all a hoax. And again, there's people still out there still saying, oh, no, he's up Putin's ass because he's a Russian, he colluded with Russia. He's a plant. All right. They trust in you and your ability to close your mind, not think critically, and to believe the lie. But that gap is starting to narrow, and here's why. They overplayed their hand. They have now told us so many damn lies and called so many of us conspiracy theories, and at this point we're batting at least 900, maybe 1,000. Because if it smells conspiracy theory to me, I'm calling it out at this point, and they can't make the lies stick anymore. So they're peddling this crap out so much, and guess what? We're calling it out. To the point where even Elon Musk went on there and said, I'm in for this shit. Wasn't Elon's direct quote, but he basically said, come on, do it. He said he's afraid of a public debate because he knows he's wrong. Now, don't forget, Elon Musk is not anti-vax. He's actually very pro-vaccine. He's outspoken on that. In fact, if you were to read that thread, I'm sure you have at this point, he goes on to say he is pro-vaccine. But when Elon Musk sits there and says, hey, you're afraid to do this? I mean, do you not have any testosterone left inside of you to say, you know what, I've been challenged. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to stand up for all the things that I've claimed were true for all these years. And if it's true, why are you scared of it? If it's true, you should be able to back it up. If it's true, you should be able to bring the statistical data. But they don't want you to see the statistical data. In fact, it's funny how a lot of the statistical data these days are starting to disappear. People are going back looking for it and saying, hey, we had all this data about all these things that were going on connected to the vaccine. Where is that now? And they're like, oh, shit, that file got lost. Very convenient, huh? Very convenient. It's almost like when Joe Biden gets accused of $10 million in bribery and the next day they indict Donald Trump. Well, we see through it. We see through it, man. The smoke and mirrors. You guys have overplayed your hand. So I'm here for it. My $10 is up. I'll double it to 20. I'm telling you, I'll take it up to 20. I want to see this debate. I might vote for RFK. I don't know. At this stage in the game, I don't know. I love pissing you guys off when I say stuff like that. But, yeah, Peter Hotez, he's a self-described internationally recognized physician scientist in neglected tropical diseases and vaccine development. Funny, was he like a household name? Like Fauci's a household name. Did I miss something, Brandon? Was Hotez a...
I mean, I remember him on Rogan, but outside that, I mean, I don't watch MSNBC, so I guess I wouldn't see him. But I figured they're just rolling this guy out because Fauci's no longer cool.
Well, again, it goes back to my point. He's been debunked to death.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. So, hey, I'm here for this debate. I want to see it happen. And we'll hold our breath and see what's going on. But I'm going to think that this guy is going to not go on that debate.
No.
Not going to go on that debate.
Well, and some of the deflections he's hinted at is basically saying, I don't want to go on because I might look stupid, without saying that out loud, because that's the case.
Well, to your point, when he was on Joe Rogan's show before, he already looked stupid.
Yeah, he looked terrible.
Because he kept saying, oh, yeah, I try to exercise every day. And Joe said, you try? Joe is a specimen, right?
Oh, health freak, yeah.
And so he's like, what do you mean you try?
Yeah.
There's either you do it or you don't.
Yeah, I
don't
really
try to do it.
When Rogan got him on the junk food was my favorite part about that.
Yeah, exactly. So he already knows he's going to look like a fool. But what I get a kick out of is the rerees on Twitter saying, don't you do it. Don't you dare get our idol next to a fire. It might burn up.